my main point in my last video that the stimulus is just the most recent and vivid example that the U.S. is controlled by an oligarchy. I would like to cite the amount of risk that the three largest banks in America in particular, that they pose to the economy given the amount of derivative positions that they have. If the underlying contracts were exercised, it would expose all three banks to liabilities that would greatly exceed the gross national product of the United States economy. I'm referring to Chase, Citigroup, and Goldman Sachs. I am including a link below that does show the derivative positions that these three banks do hold. Now, this would be as of the third quarter in 2016. If you want to get more current numbers, you can just simply go to the Bank of International Settlements website. They do compile reports and track these figures, I think, every quarter. If you look at the most recent report, you'll see that the trend is still equally scary and menacing. The notional value of these derivatives shows that the U.S. pretty much has learned nothing from 2018. I would say absolutely nothing, judging by the results. To illustrate the size and the scale of this current derivative bomb and the degree to which our policymakers, legislators, regulators, central bankers, and the media of all have failed to identify this escalating problem and take proper preventative measures, just take a look at the derivative market during the mid-1990s. At that time, Brooksley Born, she was a lawyer for commodities trading firms at the time. Bill Clinton appointee to chair the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. She did raise alarms at the time about the size of the over-the-counter derivatives market. In fact, on May 6, 1998, she issued a report, and I'm including a link to that report below as well. She issued a report on behalf of the CFTC, wherein she expressed concerns about the notional value of the OTC, over-the-counter derivatives markets. You'll notice at the time, they cited the notional value of the outstanding contracts at $28 trillion. And that alone is a pretty menacing figure. Certainly should raise some red flags, and it should have then. But at the time, Chairman Greenspan, Robert Rubin, and his Treasury Secretary and his replacement, his successor in that position, Larry Summers, basically didn't heed her warnings and I think quibbled over whether or not she had the legal authority to unwind these contracts, which she, I think, was proposing to do. Nonetheless, you'll go back, you'll see her testifying before the Senate, I think the Finance Committee, and one of the members was Alan Simpson, a Republican from Wyoming, and he kept saying, what are you trying to protect? And I believe her reply was the financial stability and security of the American people. But she later resigned in 1999, so the derivatives market continued and blew up in 2008. And after a lot of talking about what to do, about identifying systemic risk and some policy changes, derivatives markets continued, and as we see it today, where it exposes banks to such a degree that we don't even have economic resources and assets to cover those losses if all those contracts were exercised by the counterparty. So just to illustrate again the degree to which the size and scale has continued to increase for the over-the-counter derivatives markets, 28 trillion from 1997, as identified by Brooksley Borns. However, look at just the notional value of Goldman Sachs alone at the third quarter in 2016 at 45 trillion. So that should raise red flags for anybody concerned about this. Given that the 2008 housing meltdown revealed that the derivatives holdings expose systemic risk to our economy, and that the amount measured in dollars or percentage of gross national product continued to rise, it shows once again that the interest and well-being of working classes are subject to the whims of asset bubbles and Ponzi schemes. So as I look at this today, I'm not singling out Trump here because the economic problems are structural and they're being addressed adequately would exceed any one or even handful of policymakers, in my view. But until the political landscape shifts and is rebalanced to show more deference to working and middle classes, then both history and this derivative industrial complex, as I term it, show that this financial and banking oligarchy or cartel will continue to abusing their power, their privilege, and our well-being will be mocked and lost in the shuffle of algorithms and fiat money. Thank you.